Hello everyone and welcome to part 4 of my guest design project for LineDotArrow using all the Grungekits. Today we're gonna be covering up the entirety of the file folder, the parts that are still empty. I am starting by taking a few strips to cover the spines. I do that with my trimmer instead of the tearing with the ruler because I'm too scared it's going crooked. And here I am inking with my new Distress Oxide in Walnut Stain. I actually did a haul for a few inks and such from Doing, which is, well, it used to be my local craft shop, but I'm not living there anymore. But anyway, I tried filming that, but of course something went wrong and I don't have a video. So yeah, there's no video of that haul, but you will see me using a few new items throughout. So yeah, I'm just gluing down the spine paper, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the rest of the empty spots. So I'm just gonna leave the video running and put some music in the background for you guys. As we are moving the end of the project, I finally figured out what I want this to be. And I figured this is going to be one huge ephemera holder for the kit, because I wanted to try to use as much as possible, but there's just not that much space left and I still have loads of tickets and ephemera. So I decided to make this a huge ephemera holder, so everything of the kit will also be in here. I also think that after this video there will only be one more part and then the project will be finished. I decided to make this video a little bit shorter because I didn't know how long it would take me to do the final touches and the front cover. So yeah, I decided to just stop filming here and make the video a bit shorter. I then took this part for the pocket to my sewing machine and sewn all around it. I'm really loving the Distress Oxides. I also got the new color Scorched Ember. And that's, by the way, I'm really noticing a huge difference with the amount of ink that comes off from pressing the dauber only once in comparison to the smaller Distress inks, like the mini ones. This is so much better. I am so glad that I got the bigger ones. I only got 2 colors for now, but that's fine. I mean, I can save up for more. I also hope that you guys enjoyed my Temu haul. It was only a small one, but it was good in my opinion. And I also have a huge vintage treasure Instagram haul coming, but I'm still waiting for 2 shops to deliver the products that I ordered. And I have a huge box sitting on my desk waiting for me to show you guys. So bear with me, it will take a while before that video is going to be up, but that's also coming. This part was a bit fiddly because I had to take in account like the bottom part with the small strips. Again, don't be like me. Cover it first before you glue down pockets. That will make your life a lot easier. But yeah, I'm actually liking how this project is coming along. There was a point where I was like, oh my god, I don't know what I want to do. I was actually scared that I might bit off more than I can chew, you know, and I was like, oh my god, what did I get myself into, starting a huge project like this, not knowing what I was gonna do at all. I just started and, you know, but yeah, it's coming along nicely and I'm glad. And here I was looking for some decorations, but I couldn't decide. So I just took the suitcase alone. And my dangle flew off. Here I'm checking to see how the other paper looked, to have something next to it that sort of like fits a bit together. And I really love the papers. I really like them. There's so much diversity. If you have the 5 kits, you can still get these in the LineDotArrow shop, obviously. And I believe this is the last panel that I'm gluing down for now, and then I'm going to start a project that is going on this panel. And I'm just gluing down the edges with some art glitter glue. So now we're going to start the project for this panel, like I said, and I am going to make sort of a wallet. So I'm just folding down the paper to see how big I want it so that it fits the page. And I end up with a size like this. I have no measurements, guys. I don't measure. It's just an A4 sheet. For the Americans, you guys can use a letter size, I believe. I have no clue actually, but yeah, I just use an A4 sheet and I am backing it up with another page from the Grungekits. Of course, I could have printed this on a bit of harder cardstock, or heavier cardstock I should say, and then just print it double-sided, but I had a lot of the papers left, so that would have been just a waste of ink. So I just decided to glue 2 pages together. That works just as fine. And I'm using my bone folder to make sure that it's stuck, and then I cut it so that you don't see any white lines, and I use my paper trimmer for that. As you can see, my knife is getting dull, and I hate when that happens, so I ordered 2 knives, replacement ones, because I just cannot stand it if my knives are dull and you get those white, I don't even know how to call it, but it just looks off. And then I'm using my ground espresso oxides to distress the edges. It would be best to let this dry completely, I am aware, but I'm just so impatient and I just want to continue crafting. Then I'm taking it to my scoreboard to score the fold lines extra, because it's now double and I didn't want to fold it without scoring it first. And I'm just burnishing the folds there. And then I'm inking the folds. I'm always a heavy inker. I ink everything. I just love inking. Of course, you don't have to do that. It's not mandatory or anything. Here I'm looking for some neutral papers that I'm going to be using inside. Can you guess what I'm going to make? I'm not gonna tell you. I'm gonna let it running and see if you can figure it out. I think you will know soon enough. I'm also covering all the papers with other papers, so I'm doing that for 5 actually. I only did 3, but then I decided to do 2 more. I stopped filming for a bit, and then when I restarted filming I forgot to zoom out, so I'm sorry that this part is a bit, yeah, it's hard to see a bit, but I'm basically just folding all the papers the same size as the wallet, and then I will be cutting off the top strip. And I'm doing that for 5. You can still see only the 3. It's that I decide that a little bit later to do 5. Making sure that everything is glued. Here you see the 5, and then you can see that I've made 5 pouches. And I've run them through my sewing machine as well for extra stability. Here I'm checking to see if they fit, but then I decide to make a spine because it's getting a bit bigger. So I'm doing 1/8 of an inch spine. And now I'm going to attach all the pouches inside. So this is actually going to be a expandable envelope. I'm using double-sided tape for this because I thought it was easier, and then I would know that it would stick very well. And I'm putting the tape on all 5. Then on top of the paint, how did I come up with paint? On top of the tape, I'm doing some, I'm putting some glue stick so that I have a little bit more time to maneuver. And then I'm just sticking them together. Please note that you stick them on the right way with the top sides the same way. And I'm also taking account the well, when you sew, you have a nice side and a less nice side. So I'm making sure that all the sides are the same. And now I'm going to glue them inside the envelope, or I don't know how you call it, but anyway. I'm then gluing the less nice side of the stitching to the part that you won't see them, so the nicer side will be on top. And it's quite a big envelope, and I really liked how it turned out. I never made one before, so I did look up some videos to see how it was done, and it's actually quite easy. You can do this with book pages as well. You can also make these with envelopes. And now it is glued together. I ended up also rounding the corners. And here I'm noticing that when I am opening it, the top of the envelope is a bit flimsy. So I decided to just glue it down to the first pouch. And it still opens nicely, so it's okay. I'm then looking through my fabric box to see if there is something that I can put behind the envelope. And I ended up going with this sand colored fabric. I love this fabric. I use this so much. I'm then just measuring how big it needs to be, and luckily this is a fabric that is tearable. Well, not terrible, but you can tear it. It's lovely fabric, it's not terrible. But yeah, you know what I mean. Anyway, I cut it to size, or I tear it to size, and then I place it beneath. And then I'm just gonna stick it down. Also using double-sided tape for this. And then on the fabric itself, I'm using art glitter glue to stick it down to the panel. I then decided that I wanted to add a bit of string so that I could tie the folio or the expandable envelope shut. But then I realized that the fabric was curling up, and I was like, oh no, I don't like that. So yeah, I just tore it out, and then I took the envelope off because it wasn't dried completely yet, so I was lucky. And then I sandwiched it between the fabric and the envelope. I thought that was better. And that's it for the wallet. The wallet is now finished. I really like how it turned out. And then I'm just looking through the smaller embellishments to see if I can make it a bit, decorate it a bit. I don't know why, but when it comes to embellishing, it takes me forever. I ended up going with this metal looking flower and a label, and I'm then using my new Kathy Holden sign here stamps. These are also part of the duetting haul. And I am so impressed with how good these clear stamps are. They are so sturdy and they stick very, very well. So I'm quite happy with this set. And I also used a new VersaFine color. I am not sure what color it is. Give me 1 second. I'm using the color Rainforest, and I also got a dark blue in the color Twilight, and I got a wine red, which was, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Chianti? I'm not sure, but that's a wine red. So I got 3 extra colors. And then I am stamping a number in the new color red. And I think I leave it at that. I am trying to see. Oh no, I think I'm going to add just a few tiny bits and bobs. You see how indecisive I am? Oh my god. Jeez, it takes me forever. I don't know why. Just glue something on, woman. Okay, and then I end up with this small sort of postage stamp with a price tag. So that's the inside, and now I'm going to work on the flaps that are going inwards. So basically the back side. And then I'm turning it around, and then you can see that I need to do all 4 panels. So I'm doing that first before I start the next project. And here I'm tearing the edges again with a ruler. And then I took out a few more papers and cut those to size as well. And also inking around all the edges. And then I also took a smaller piece of paper for the pockets on the side that was already covered, and I've sewn around the edges of that. And now I'm just gonna glue everything down. I believe that is going to be the front cover. And yeah, now you can see that everything is covered. So now we're going to start the next little project. In this kit there is a huge amount of tags and pockets. So I decided that I wanted to use some of the pockets. And here I'm just, I want to use 4, and here I'm checking to see which ones I want to use. And I end up going with these 4. I'm taking out my mini scoreboard because I think I was thinking about scoring the glue edges, but I end up not using them. Using it, I mean. I take out some paper cardstock. It's very well, it's not that thick. It's a regular paper in cardstock color, and I cut it to size to fit the panel, and I did that for both. And then I'm gonna glue on the pockets, but first I am going to snip off all the glue edges. Because if you use all the gussets, it's going to be a very, well, it's going to have a lot of room. But for what I'm going to put in, I don't need that room because it will just all fall out. So I'm taking off all the gluing edges, and then I'm checking to see if they are the same size. So I fold the smaller one over and trace it and then cut it off so that they are the same size. And then I'm going to ink around all the edges after I glued. No, I'm doing the edges first. I'm roughening them up a bit with my scissors, inking, and then I stick them down. And I do that for the other set of pockets as well. I'm sorry if I am stuttering a bit. I cannot talk today. As you guys know by now, talking is very hard for me. I don't know why. But yeah, I'm thinking that you know what I mean. So now you can see how the pocket is turning out. I really like this shape. And I do that for both, and then I run them through my sewing machine, and I really love how they turned out. I am then using some tape to glue or to put over the stitching, and mainly on the top side and the middle, because when you slide something in, I don't want anything to get stuck, because yeah, it's not a smooth, I don't know how you would call it, but it wouldn't be smooth. So, but I'm only using it on the top sides and in the middle, because I need an edge to put my glue, and the glue doesn't take it, it doesn't work on the tape. So now I'm sticking down both of the pockets. And of course we need something to put in. And as I mentioned before, this kit, well, the 5 kits together have a huge amount of tags. So I decided to make this a tag holder. So I'm just looking for a few tags to use. On top I'm going to put smaller ones and below the bigger ones. I'm not using all of them, but I use many. And these are the ones I'm going to use. I then take them all out, because I want to back them all with some paper you can write on, so that they are all journal cards as well. Because in my mind you can take out stuff from the pockets and everything to use in that little notebook journal. So here I'm just gonna stick it down to another piece of paper, cut off the excess, ink them up, and I'm also gonna do some sewing on all of them. And I am using some eyelets for the holes. And I do that for all of the tags. So today's video is quite easy. Everyone could do this. It's nothing special, to be honest. But that's fine. Sometimes it's also nice to do simpler projects. Not everything has to be complicated or, you know. This tag, I love this tag. I love the flowers so much, but for some reason my sewing machine started acting up. I don't know what was wrong with it, but I ruined the tag with the flowers. So unfortunately that won't be in the pockets. And here you can see that I got my sewing machine working again. And I sewn around and add the eyelets. And then I'm going to do that for all the other tickets as well. And then I am going to add some string. I decide to use different strings on a few of them, and there's also gonna be a few without strings. Now I'm going to fill the pockets with the tickets, and I really enjoy how the folio is turning out. I then need something to put in the pocket to the right or left. Right and left is also hard for me. Oh gosh. So I'm taking out some of the bigger ephemera pieces that I have left from the kit, and I am roughening up some edges. I'm tearing it, I'm folding it, like stuff like that, and then ink around all the edges and fill the pockets with ephemera. I'm also just folding it to make some creases to make it look really old. I am not backing these up, I'm just gonna leave them white on the background. I really like these ephemera pieces, by the way. I love vintage stuff. Tickets, I don't know. Tickets are my favorite thing, by the way, but also like bills, library cards, you know, stuff like that, letters, envelopes. And I think I leave it at that. I think this is enough. I first wanted to put that thing in folded, but then I was like, oh no, the back side is white, so I'm not gonna do that. And that is actually it for this video. I hope you enjoy what we have done, and next part we are going to work on the front cover. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. Bye!